Hey, how's it going? Hans Schaff here with Jim Cook, and we are on the lake, the Cottages at Pine Lake. And this is where those ice lots would have been, but that's no longer going to be the case.
Now it kind of looks like we're on the wild, uncharted, untamed lake. You know, you have to be careful because it is expansive. Storms can come up and sweep you away. Oh, okay, maybe not.
Or a water fountain or two.
But yeah, that treacherous water fountain.
Should we put Jim in there for a quick shower? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I used to have a friend named Hans.
That's about as close as you're going to get to the fountain here. But just to show you, we are actually in the lake. The Cottages at Pine Lake. If I can steer a little better. We are getting a little shower here.
There we go. It's shower time. It's shower time.
So we're here on the lake, just going to show you a little bit of the Cottages at Pine Lake here and some of the tiny houses and kind of the view from the lake. So when you become a resident here, you're able to jump out on the dock and go fishing, or jump on a little fishing boat like we're in right now. You can go kayaking, you can go paddleboarding, or just kind of listen to the fountain as well. But so here we are, the view that you've got there is at the north of the property. And we'll spin around here in a circle. There's that new home we placed yesterday. And there's the west side of the lake. And actually the grounds crew is here today, cleaning up all the weeds and grass that's been growing from all that 2 weeks of rain that we had. There's the riprap rock. There's Jim's other home to be connected to that home. The Credit Cottage, Charleston, RJO, and there's the fountain again. So we'll get another try around this lake. So anyway, we're just here, kind of share with you a little bit about the property here, and I think Jim's ready to grill me with some questions that came from the Facebook group, the Tiny Home, Sweet Home Alabama Facebook group.
Let's start out with a question that the question was basically, did you ever imagine that you would be creating a tiny home community such as this? And I thought maybe I would prep it by saying, were you out of your mind when you made a decision to create this? Tell me how you got to this. It's not your first rodeo. You've got experience with tiny homes. So a quick synopsis, how did you get to making a decision?
Yeah. So long story short, I got into tiny houses back in 2014, 2015. A friend of mine kind of showed me this was a real thing. You know, I'd seen them on Facebook and all that, but I thought it was just a gimmick. You know, how small the house can you get in? It was just for clickbait, you know. And but then I saw a friend of mine who was living in a 400 square foot home in Idlewild, California, up in the mountains up there of California. And it was just like a fireplace, you know, in the living room, had one small bedroom and a kitchenette. And she was living life. And I thought, wow, this is cool. I can do this. It was just me and my dog at the time. So I thought, man, I don't need to be spending all this money on a 2,000 square foot home. It's just me and my dog. I used the bedroom, the bathroom, and the kitchen. I mean, why am I paying mortgage, insurance, cleaners, landscaping, all this money for this house I wasn't even there for maybe once a month because I was traveling, seeing my family in California, going to Colorado in the mountains, going to the beach in Florida. I'm like, so this was a neat vehicle. And then when I saw you could have it on wheels and you can move it around the country and take it with you and own your home and not have to, if you want to change your neighbors, change your location, you just take it up with you. I thought, man, this is brilliant. So I understood immediately from that point the brilliance of tiny homes and how it was going to catch on, and how when people understood what it really was about and how great it can be. But there were two main factors that I saw that were obstacles, right? Number one was financing. How do you buy a tiny house? And for a lot of people, especially younger people, that's a challenge, because younger people especially don't have a lot of money, right? They make good income, so they can make payments, but they don't have the funds in order to actually buy something outright. And that's why I realized soon thereafter that this was going to appeal more to the older generation, people who have had a home before, were able to downsize.
What are you calling me?
The
older generation?
The older generation, yes.
Hey, did you catch that? He brings me through the fountain.
Did I say older?
He calls me old.
I meant experienced, wiser. Did I say older?
Yeah, I'm wise enough to choose my friends better.
But with that experience and that wisdom, right? I mean, you start to understand the value of dollars well more, and you value your time better too. So you understand that having a home where you got to spend all weekend cleaning it, or all weekend long maintaining it just to look good for the neighbors, then you got to work all week again just to make the mortgage payment.
Sure.
That gets old.
Now, how long did you live in a tiny home?
So yeah, so long story short, I decided I was going to go ahead and build my own tiny home because at the time there wasn't a lot of options of people building them. And it was kind of handy, and I'd built stuff in the past before. I thought, how hard can it be to build a tiny home? I'll build it in 3 weeks' time, and I'll be living tiny in 3 weeks. Well, it didn't happen, of course. It took a whole year of my life. You know, and I was transitioning. I had sold off some property. I had another development that was a 26 home patio home community. These are a little bit bigger homes. They're about 600, 800 square feet. So I had experience managing that and kind of building that and developing that property. Whole different animal, but similar enough, right? So I thought, well, I'm going to learn all the ins and outs of tiny house. I'm going to build it myself. And I came to realize very quickly, tiny home is a different animal because what it is, the real challenge of it is you've got a small space you're trying to fit everything into, infrastructure-wise. You got to have the air conditioning, refrigerant lines. You got to have the propane lines. You got to have the internet lines, the water, the power, and the sewer, all within the small confines. Where like a big house on a foundation, you can go in the ground, you can go in the walls. But when you've only got like 3 walls or 4 small walls in the whole house, you've got to really pick and choose where you want things to run.
Sure.
So it was a challenge. And windows too, right? Got to put in there and doors and all that. So it took a long time to get that figured out. But anyways, built the house, spent a year building it. Met my wife during that period of time, and we moved into it with 2 dogs, her and I both, and lived there for 2 years. Where the home still is, it's now an Airbnb because we had kids after that point. But those were 2 awesome years. Going tiny. I had a loft where you could, basically watch TV from the loft, or you go down to the kitchen and watch the same TV. Everything was within arm's distance. You never lost your keys, you never lost your phone because you could see it all, right? It was great. You only had 15 minutes to have the whole house cleaned up. I mean, it was brilliant. Why this hasn't caught on sooner, I don't know, but it's an awesome thing.
Now I've been here all week. I've been watching you running around the community. I've been watching you hook up the various parts of the home, so that they can run, backing them in, putting them in, jacking them up, putting in steps. Hans, where did you learn all this?
So, it's funny, we call this, well, let me back up. So growing up in Sacramento, California, and sorry, I'm trying to multitask here, trying to make sure we don't run aground here. I'm trying to steer the boat here. I'm not a very good multitasker. I like to focus on one task at a time. But growing up, on Saturdays, we would work in the yard. And when we go to the mountains and stuff, we'd chop firewood. I mean, that was just kind of our family thing. We would do manual labor. And it was just a way where, for sure, all of us 3 kids would all be together with my parents and stuff and working together. And that was our kind of a bonding time, I guess. And my friends would get roped into it as well. And so it became known as a shoff party, where you better make sure you bring your gloves because you're going to get put to work. And you get some treats afterward. You get lunch, or some drinks or whatever afterwards. So it was worth it in the end. It was fun. And we had pictures and memories from all that stuff too, but it became known as a shoff party. So I guess it's kind of just part of my upbringing. We just kind of, working was a good time, and I mean, it's hot and sweaty and this and that, but the sense of achievement afterward is just, there's nothing like it. So I guess in a nutshell, shoff parties are kind of my thing. In fact, whenever my dad comes out here, he's a mechanical engineer, and so I learned a lot of this stuff kind of watching him build his electric cars and doing different things growing up. But when he comes out here, I put him to work too. And so, we have a little shoff party here, working around the property, doing some stuff as well. So it's bringing my childhood, into adulthood, I guess. So I learned a lot of that there. But then I also have, over the years, I guess I got into real estate about 20 years ago. And I had an apartment complex, and that was where I learned firsthand how to fix things up. That's always kind of been my mentality. I like to go from the ground up. I like to learn, how does this thing work? Again, my dad's an engineer. I kind of learned how, take things apart, figure out how they work. So I want to start at the ground level and kind of figure it all out. So I was the property manager, I was the handyman, I was the cleaner, I was the fixer-upper, I was the leaser, I was the everything, did it all. And I had a retired carpenter as one of my tenants in that apartment building, and he was really good at knowing little tricks on how to fix stuff up. And so he taught me a lot of little tricks on how to, do a little electrical, a little plumbing, and so over the years, that's where it started. And then, of course, YouTube's been a great educator too. Free education, you learn so much on YouTube. Can't believe everything you read, but if you start seeing the same video over and over again, and you can read in the comments too. So it's a good place I encourage people to kind of learn all over the place. There's education everywhere, right? But that was, some 20 years ago, and just every year, doing that development of that patio home complex as well, I'd watch tradesmen and kind of, get in there and help them a little bit and learn this and learn that. So just basically 20 years of hands-on experience, really.
Okay. how did you get the cottages at Pine Lake? Because I saw the first video. You called this a lake. I couldn't see water.
It was maybe a puddle, yeah.
There may have been a puddle that you could see, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
How did you make a decision to purchase this, and what did the wonderful, amazing Lacey think when you said, "Hey, honey, have I got a plan?"
Yeah, so she's known since we met, obviously, because we met right when I was in the middle of designing and building my tiny home, and she kind of thought I was a little crazy back then, but we were dating at the time, and she wasn't sure if it was a fad back then, that I was just kind of getting into something. She quickly learned that no, this was kind of a passion of mine, and this was something that was, I was inspired and motivated to really go all out, really. And especially when we built that first home, again, I was building it as a showcase. I wanted to show other people, I wanted to communicate my vision to them, like, look, tiny house can be a great solution for so many people, for so many different things.
Sure.
So I tried to make one house do everything, which you can't do. But I tried. I was going to put a hot tub in there. I was going to, I had a 12-volt system and a 120-volt system. I had just way too much going on in that house because I wanted to showcase everything. Because you can do everything in a tiny house, but it's better to kind of pick and choose your favorites. You don't need everything in a tiny house, right? That's what you kind of learn over time. But yeah, so ever since I built that first tiny house, and I realized, again, that second struggle, the first one was the financing. The second one was, where do you park it? Where do you put a tiny home? You can't just, you get an apartment, well, you just rent it, it's there. You buy a house, well, it comes with the real estate, you just buy it, it's there. The tiny home, you have to have somewhere for it to go, because when you buy a tiny home, you got to literally pick it up or have it delivered somewhere. And that was the hard part, because a lot of municipalities, a lot of cities and counties do not allow tiny houses because it's different. It's not something standard, it's not a normal home, and a lot of times they can't get the tax money on it, so they're not incentivized to want to find a solution for you. So it can be very difficult to find a place to put a tiny house, and that was one of my motivators. Okay, if I can figure out where people can put tiny homes, I'm like, well, I've already developed property in the past. How much different can it be to develop a community for tiny homes? And I kind of set out about 10 years ago when I built my tiny house that was going to be, I was going to build a house and then somehow create a community in order to give a place for people to not only buy a tiny home, because now you can buy them. There's a lot of different builders out there where you can buy a tiny house, a lot of reputable builders, and you still need somewhere to put it. So 10 years ago, that idea stuck in my head. And I had once we moved out of my Tahoe that I built, I ended up getting 2 other tiny houses. And so I now have 3 in a small community. But again, those are just Airbnbs. They're just for a night to kind of experience it, try it out, see if you like it. But it still wasn't this long-term solution of where can you live in one. And then actually Incredible Tiny Homes popped up on my radar again, and I saw what they were doing. And when he mentioned that he was building a factory to be able to produce several hundred tiny homes per year, that was the first solution to my problem. Because you need to have, if we were to build this 50 home community without being able to have tiny houses, it would take 10 years. Because most builders cannot build that many tiny homes at once. So when he told me that, and I saw him produce 72 homes or sell 72 homes in 3 weeks, I knew he could do it. I knew this could be a solution for us to be able to, we could get enough tiny homes to fill a property. So then it's like, okay, we've got the tiny homes potential, we've got the demands out there for it. I could see people wanted something, needed this still. Then I needed to just find the right property. So this is all in my head, and I actually was on the way to Incredible Tiny Homes to meet Randy and check out the facilities there and see his tiny homes in person. And I drove past his property, and it had just come up on the market maybe a week or 2 before. And again, it was not like this. I'll do a quick little pan around again.
No, it wasn't.
Like you said, I mean, there was no water here.
And there were trees and brush growing up everywhere.
Yeah, there was no water in here.
I mean, you couldn't see the water, and even inside what's now the park here, it was so grown up that I don't know what kind of imagination you have, because it didn't look like anything.
Yeah.
But you were showing renderings, and people like me are seeing it, saying yes, it could be. But I was excited the first time I saw it, but I wondered, is it possible?
Yeah.
And how many years would it take?
Yeah.
Before people would be living on it? And here we are, 8 months later, 10 months later, and you've got people who've been here a couple months now.
Yeah, yeah.
And homes or lots are opening up. There's lots available now. There's people moving in. Mm-hmm. What are you made of, man? What is your diet? Is there a special Hans drink made in Germany or something for supermen?
No. I mean, I'm a dreamer, I guess, a visionary, and I saw something clicked. I don't, again, call it fate, call it, just a divine intervention. I don't know, but I was driving along, just found this property, couldn't see it. I drove past and I saw the gate, I saw the sign where it was the old McDonald's petting zoo, and I called the realtor. He gave me the key. I walked in and I saw that nice open field there in the front, and I could drive all the way around it, but I knew there was supposedly a lake here somewhere, but I could not see it through the trees. I mean, it was all overgrown. It was just but I did find one picture online of the petting zoo, and I did see water in this lake. And so that, based on that one picture, I knew at one time it had held water.
Hope springs eternal, and your spring seems to give you hope,
Yes, and we do have a spring on the property here too. So
I know it's going to be right under our home.
Yeah,
is where the spring is going to feed in.
Yeah, let's go over there. We can kind of show people too.
So Annette was excited that we're going to have the spring right near us because she'll be able to go see the fishes.
Yes, they do like that spring. Yeah, the fresh water coming in. And it is some fresh water too. It's real nice.
So it is spring fed. There is runoff and spring fed, but it's not a runoff like in a heavy agricultural type of setting.
Right.
It's basically the runoff from this property.
Which is basically a forest, is what it was.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. So I'm not worried about funny chemicals and things that might be in it.
Right.
Again, it's idyllic. It's idyllic. I guess that's the word. Is idyllic.
Yeah, and it gets filtered through a lot of the pine needles that are falling again on all the dirt that we brought back to the surface, but it's now regrowing and reforesting. So.
It's gonna. The water level will eventually be up to the rocks and a little above the rocks over here. So it's got another 3 or 4 feet of depth to grow, and then of course with that the lake expands. What you can't see is the slope coming down to the lake, but every time you increase by a foot or two, you've made the lake that much larger.
Yeah.
And it will be swimmable. We always have grandbabies in the summer, and I think they're going to have to spend a month with us here, just enjoying the lake.
Yeah.
A different kind of life. They're used to the pool, they're used to the ocean, and maybe we'll split it. You get 2 weeks at the lake, you get 2 weeks at the ocean. Mm-hmm. It's all good, but it's exciting. And so I'm just picturing 3 feet more water.
Yeah.
That would be up into this area here.
Yeah, there's a culvert that we're kind of approaching over here, kind of halfway up those rocks. So that'll be the maximum lake level that it will ever go up to, is because that culvert will obviously empty it over into the little field on the other side here. And there's going to be a dock right over here off the middle of this riprap, and so you'll be able to fish off of it, jump off of it, launch a boat off of it, and it'll be a floating dock.
Is it a soft bottom or rocky bottom over here?
It's dirt.
It's dirt.
Yeah, this was all imported. We imported all this rock here.
Okay, so it'll be a good spot for swimming.
Yeah.
Without scuffing up your feet too badly.
Oh yeah, I mean it'll be. Yeah, because it's just that topsoil, kind of like silty, almost, spongy kind of bottom. Yeah.
Sure.
But it'll probably be, I won't say too deep, but I mean it'll be about 7 or 8 feet deep right here, so you won't even really touch the bottom.
Nice.
Unless you're jumping off and pushing off the bottom. But
nice. Very good.
Yeah, this is the deeper. The south end is the deeper end of the pond.
You saw this thing. You drove by, and a light bulb went on, and you said, "Oh, I've got an idea." Now, when you presented it to the sweet, intelligent Lacey, what was she thinking?
She saw the vision right from the beginning.
Okay.
She's like, you know what? I know you've been talking about this for 9-10 years, and it wasn't the right time. We had young kids, and we were just busy with life, and then all of a sudden, like I said, ITH kind of popped up on my radar, and this property popped up on my radar, and just I had the right time to do it. I was at a point in my life where I was able to take on something like this because it has become a full-time venture. As you can imagine, there's a lot that goes into all this.
I haven't seen you work here much this week.
Yeah, just all day.
He left our house at 9:30 Monday night after hooking everything up. He had been here all day, and so yeah, I haven't seen him working.
Had to run home to grab the kids from school and then came back to finish up.
A lot of hard work. So Lacey was saying this is a good idea. Have you ever held a real job?
Yes, I have. I mean, my day job is a mortgage broker, but that's kind of flexible, and I basically kind of turn that off and hand all my clients over to my coworkers for now, because this is my full-time hands-on kind of deal right now. Want to get these residents in, want to get these lots all
Full-time
developed.
hands-on or hands?
Yes, both.
Hands.
Yeah.
Hands-on. Hands-on. Okay, we're approaching perhaps the most dangerous part of the lake because it's going to be where Annette and I will have our little home. And the
there'll
spring,
be signs posted. Beware of Jim.
I think there will be a sign, or there should be. But the spring, you'll see some rocks and a little culvert up here. That is the spring, that's feeding this lake. Tens of gallons a day, 10,200 gallons every day coming into the lake. You can multiply that out per day, and
I'm
you
not
can
going to do
figure
it.
it out. Yeah, I remember his video when he did the math on how much water was coming in, and he was only off by a factor of 10 or 20.
No, minor detail.
And I'm watching, saying, he's a good man, but he can't add. And he can't multiply.
That's how you get comments into the comment section, is by misstating the facts, and people will correct you.
But the beauty is he was not exaggerating the facts. In fact, he had underestimated and understated. And I guess as I'm getting to know Hans, I'm finding that he doesn't overpromise and underdeliver. He probably overdelivers and underpromises. He gets things done faster than most of us can imagine. And all this land, it's all been worked. It's all been worked. Everything you see, he's been working, and his crew has been working. Tremendous amount of work, and yet it's getting done. It's getting done. And the home sites are ready. Now, if someone wanted to move in right now, if they said, I have to move in 3 days, you can't help them, can you? You'd say, give me 6 months and I'll have it ready. Could they move in 3 days?
Yes, actually, we have 5 lots currently available right now. We just got them all finished up. They're all developed. We got water, power, and sewer, and a pad. We got the internet's already hooked up and running. We've got the trash services here. So yeah, we are ready.
So you're saying that if someone needs a spot to bring their home, they could bring that home this week or next?
Yes, that is correct. We are ready. Bring it on.
I don't want to steal from someone else, but that's incredible. That is incredible.
Yeah.
That they're ready to go. And there's some really nice lots. I haven't seen a bad lot, and I didn't know we were going to get a lake lot. We just said yes when Hans said, well, why don't you consider moving your home here? And we came in, and we're on the lake, and there's other lake lots over here waiting for people to say, I want that lot. Do you have 5 more lots?
5 lots, yeah.
And we were over there this morning. I think there'll be another video. I'm not sure what order they'll come in. The views from over here on the other side, you're looking at this lake, and guess what you're seeing on the other side? There's another lake on a farmer's land. There's a meadow with a lake in it. You're looking at pasture land. You're looking at cows. You're looking over at the town of Woodville. You're looking at mountains in the background. I can only imagine what it looks like in the fall.
Yeah, these poplars like we were talking about, changing colors. And
a lot of poplars around the lake, and then back beyond that you have pine trees. You've got some really deep shade. You've got some partial shade. Just about anything that you want, it's available here.
And we've stocked the lake. We've got 100 tilapia. That's what we started with.
Now there's 10,000 tilapia.
Yeah, they've reproduced, and so we're gonna have to fish them all out this fall. So big fishing tournament.
Do you have a time that it's coming? Have you figured out when that's going to be?
I need to look at a almanac or something to figure out when the water temperature drops down. But when it gets to 56 degrees, they'll start dying off. So it's got to be before then.
Okay.
So probably, I think we'll probably have until probably October.
Because Annette told me, I hope we can be there for that.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't even like fish, so it's
right.
I don't eat fish, but she does.
Yeah, yeah.
She does. Now, the amenity or the activity center is going to be over beyond that little pavilion, that temporary pavilion.
pan around.
And it's going to be a room that's going to be able to fit 50, 55, 60 people. Someone was asking about Bible studies and church services. What kind of things could people do in that? Is it all religious?
No, I mean, basically these facilities and this infrastructure we're putting in place is for the residents to use. So we're not going to dictate it's got to be this way or that way or this or that. Whatever you guys want to use it for, you can, have we'll have a system in place where, you rent it out by the hour or something like that, where, okay, and whoever reserves it, say Jim wants to watch the Super Bowl from this time to that time, then you just kind of, you'll have a reservation system and you put it in there and people will know that at this time, first come, first served, you got your name down, and so whoever wants to come, whoever you want to invite from the community here, it's open for them to come and join you. And if other people want to do worship services at a certain time on a certain day, they can use it for that purposes as well. So it's going to be for all the residents to use.
So it could be used for just about anything.
Within limits of the law.
Limits and, yeah, if it's not lawful, don't ask.
Yeah, go somewhere else. Go off property.
You could ask forgiveness later.
No, or just not do that.
Sorry, that's probably going to be edited out of this.
But yeah, and we're also going to be. You can kind of see the highways right here. It's pretty visible from the back of the property here, and we're going to be putting in 6 containers. Basically, it's going to be over 20 feet high, over 130 feet wide. Basically, a nice big metal multicolored wall that's going to shield that road and all the noise from that, and it's going to house some additional studio space up top. And what you'll be able to do in there, same kind of thing, it's going to be climate controlled. So you'll be able to go in there and 8 by 40 room essentially, or 7 by 40. So 300 and, there goes my math again, would be normally 320, but 7 times 4, 280 square feet of.
Your dad and I is proud of you, son. We's proud of you.
It's a little bit hard to steer, think, and talk at the same time. I could chew gum and talk, and that's about it.
Maybe, I don't know.
No promises.
Okay,
But,
so amenity center, it can be used for all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Now there's going to be a laundry service too.
Yes.
Is that just a money-making thing for you?
No, so we are going to charge a nominal fee because we don't want people just kind of sitting there doing laundry, creating a laundry business and like charging everybody for laundry and just sitting there doing free laundry. It'll be like $1 a load or something like that, just enough to kind of pay for, to make it worth your while. But it's not going to be like $6, $10, whatever it costs for a laundromat these days, but just something nominal. But we do want to encourage people to kind of use those facilities so you're not having to run up your own utility bills at home, because again, you are paying your own utilities with your tiny home, water, power, and sewer based on however much you're using. So we have that on site. It'll be cheaper to do your laundry in our laundromat on site than it will be to do it in your own home. And you don't have to buy a washer dryer at that point as well. So,
and with a tiny home, that area, that little closet that comes with our incredible home that you're planning to put, a laundry, washer dryer in, all of a sudden you got a closet.
Yeah.
Which, in a tiny home, that's
premium real estate.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Storage that you can actually use without bending over onto the ground.
Yeah.
So some of us don't do that well.
Plus, I'll tell you with the laundromat too, look at that turtle. Look at that big old turtle. Holy cow. See him floating right there?
I do.
Wow, I did not know we had a turtle that big in this lake. Maybe it's a prehistoric turtle.
Maybe he doesn't want us here.
He's getting a little shower. Oh, it's coming up on the video.
Uh-oh, he's diving. He's gonna dive.
Wow. Let me get a closer look. Wildlife sighting here at the Cottages.
And what you can't see is, besides turtles, there's dragonflies everywhere. And they're the greatest insect in the world because they eat mosquitoes.
Yeah,
and they don't bite us.
Oh, I think we're gonna get that shower here.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I am so excited about this shower. Yeah, I hope he drives his truck better than he drives his boat.
It's my first time.
If not, do not park behind him.
Yeah, those water lots may not be so good, huh?
Okay, we talked about utilities, talked about washer and dryers in the laundry.
Yeah, let me add. So, and with the laundromat as well, that's going to be attached to the clubhouse. So you'll be able to go there, do your laundry, and you have a little, area where you can kind of hang out. You can drink some coffee. You could go to the gym. You go in the dry sauna. That'll all be connected right there.
So there'll be a gym.
Yeah, it'll be a tiny gym as well.
Well, I'm still going to live here.
You're not required to go, but it is available for those who want to partake.
Okay. Okay. Because I thought about exercising one time, and laid down till the thought went away. And
Other than those 5 miles a day you walk.
I do walk a little bit, but that's different than exercise.
That doesn't count, huh?
That is totally different. The beauty, and we've gone around the lake, you've seen kind of the edges, but some of the land goes back a little ways into the woods, and I just like the idea of having little walking trails. Looks like it, and I'm not great with math and all, well, I am pretty good with math, but it looks like when you max it out, you might get almost a half mile of walking, and you'll have different types of walking, whether it's a path with the pine needles under you, or whether it's the graveled road. And again, if you're counting steps, if you're exercising, you're walking around a lake. How can you beat that?
Yeah, that view just changes, but it's always a good view the whole way around.
How can you beat that? Let me just see, I've got some questions.
I don't think we mentioned the dog park too. We got a dog park over here from the old petting zoo. There's a great
Going to
little
be a
fenced-in
nice
area.
dog park. And this is a dog-friendly park, or an animal-friendly? What kind of animals can you have?
Well, you know what? It kind of goes with tiny houses. I think it seems like everyone, definitely one of every 2 people in a tiny house has a dog or 2. So it's definitely dog-friendly. But we're out talking about maybe having some chickens here as well, and some honeybees, and some goats perhaps. Again, it's up to the residents, what you want to do with it. But we have the facility and the infrastructure in place to kind of be able to, and we'll help facilitate that as well. And the residents will be in charge of kind of taking care of it, making sure the chickens are producing and the honey's being collected and all that kind of thing, which we have many residents who are excited about doing that. We have other residents who are excited about baking goods and being able to provide cakes for other residents and things, and maybe even selling some in a farmer's market that we can hold here once a week or once a month, or whatever people want to do. We're really here to help facilitate living your best life. So it's all about.
It sounds good. Now, there's a lot of hype about how much it costs to live in a tiny home and being able to save money. Hans, do you really believe that you can save money by living in a tiny home? Or are you just a salesman selling some snake oil?
I can tell you from firsthand experience, it is much cheaper to live in a tiny house on wheels. Just in my tiny house, just utilities wise, for example, I left my still to this day, my mini split is on 24 hours a day. And even with that on 24 hours a day, and it's a 40-foot tiny house, right? So it's 320 square feet with a loft and all that. And it's got all the, TVs, it's got every electrical device you could think of. My electric bill has never gone over $50 a month. In fact, it's usually about $30 per month.
Wow.
Yeah. And water-wise, again, you're not using a lot of water just because, I don't have a dishwasher in the house, but you only ever need one plate, one fork, one knife. You only need so much. You're not entertaining.
So Annette and I have to share with our plate and our fork?
If you want to reduce dishes, you can. All right, your turn. You get the fork. I get the knife.
I'll tell her. She'll start with a knife and then she'll have both.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, show you how you can really conserve here. Yeah.
So if your electric bill is $75 a month and your water is $20, $30 a month, and if you're again, it's a small house, you're not spending all your time.
Right.
You're not spending all your money on maintenance.
And let's be honest, again, as we get older and wiser and more experienced, you learn that time is really worth more than money. And so to save that time that you'd spend literally all weekend clean. I had a 5,000 square foot home, when I first moved to Huntsville, because prices here were cheaper at the time. And you could get that money would go a long ways. And so I'm like, hey, I can afford a 5,000 square foot house, 3-car garage, pool, hot tub, so why not do it? I found out why you don't want to do that. When it's just 2 people and 2 dogs, it doesn't make sense. It's all it's cracked up to be. And I think more and more people are learning that these days as costs are increasing, that you don't need that much space. All you're gonna do is fill it up with more junk.
Okay.
And paring down is a process. It's not necessarily easy, but you know what? There's an emotional component to that, and you release so much of this baggage and these burdens, you really feel lighter. You feel better. And that just goes throughout your life, and it carries with you. You're freer, you're able to do more things, you've got more money to do more things, and more time, which again, I think is the most important factor to really enjoy and live your best life. That's what this is all about.
I like that. I like the idea of being able to, Annette and I travel a lot anyway. And we travel, you don't want to travel with us if you want to travel top shelf. If you want to pick up a chicken somewhere and split a rotisserie chicken while you're on the road, if if you want to split a sandwich, if you want to live on the cheap, you know, hang out with us. But we like the idea of being able to travel more. You know, the clock's ticking down. I have a lot of medical issues, and I'd like to think I'm going to be here for 25 more years. It's not likely. And so today is a day I need to be doing the things I want to do, and that's part of the reason we're doing this adventure. It really is an adventure for us. We've done a lot of camping, and we'll camp a little bit, but we're going to start transitioning away from that to enjoy our tiny home and our tiny community. And I've said it a couple times, I'll say it again. You can put a tiny home in different places just for a spot that you can rent. But typically your rent's going to be a lot more than you can imagine, and the community that's going to offer a lot less than you want. What if you could have more than just a place to park your home? What if you had a place where you could truly live? That's the Cottages at Pine Lake, a place to live. Capital letters, L-I-V-E.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking, if you're not sure, if you got a lot of questions, well, I'd say do what we do, come over. No, we just bought it sight unseen, and we're thrilled. But check it out. Check it out online. Contact Hans, check it out in person. And oh, you're going to see construction. And if you don't like dirt, maybe you want to wait a few months. But if you wait a few months, there may not be a spot available. But if you like the idea of adventure, of what something can be, and you get to see what it's becoming, and have input to let Hans know what it is that you want, this is a place to be. This is the first generation for this community. And I believe it's going to be a premier community. I believe that a lot of people are going to say, boy, I wish I had taken them up on that back in 24.
And, you know, also touch on what you're talking about too. You know, life these days is uncertain for a lot of different reasons, right? And I think a lot of people, they've been waiting their entire lives for what? And, you know, now's the time to live.
And let's say you wanted to live here. Let's say you bought in and you like waterfalls. You have to go to Oregon to see good waterfalls, right? No. 40 miles away, you get into some waterfalls country that is just premium here in the East. What if you wanted to go to state parks? There aren't any state parks around here, are there?
Just a couple.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And they have caverns. 6 miles away, maybe.
Yeah.
There's Cathedral Caverns.
Largest largest cave opening in the country. Yeah.
And I can't wait to explore that. Food. Are you a foodie? Do you like food? Do you like restaurant food? There's some great restaurants.
And this guy's here, and he cooks an incredible smash burger. You don't want to miss out on that either. Just FYI.
Yeah, smash burgers for 200. Wait till I. Yeah, don't tell Annette on this video. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah.
And will it be perfect? No. If you think it's going to be perfect, then you are buying some snake oil. But if you think it's a spot that you could begin a life, maybe a different aspect of your life, a different chapter, I say it could be the best chapter. You know, come check it out. That's all I'm saying. Come check it out.
Yeah, blank canvas, you can make it what you want it to be.
Appreciate you, Hans, for letting me take this boat ride around this uncharted wilderness area called Pine Lake.
Yeah, and you got to see a turtle that wasn't even part of the tour.
You got to see a wild
here,
turtle,
so.
a prehistoric turtle.
That was pretty neat.
That was eyeing me. I didn't like the way he was looking at me. Some dragonflies that are carnivorous, if you're a mosquito.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, mosquitoes beware, which has been great because there's not a lot of mosquitoes around
I saw some wildlife this morning when I was walking. I saw a raccoon.
Really?
He was crossing right up here.
Uh-oh.
And I see wild dogs. They're all on leashes. Lot of dogs.
We had a bald eagle actually in that tree right over there. The construction workers pointed that out.
I can't wait to see that.
Might be fish in our lake. I don't know, but
well, I think there'll be enough.
Yeah, Yeah, they produce
think they'd
quick
be
enough. Might need a few more of them to help thin out the herd here.
So come check out the cottages at Pine Lake. You can join a community. I'm a fan of Hans and Lacey and what they're doing here, and it's called Tiny Home Sweet Home Alabama. Almost sounds like a song. Tiny Home Sweet Home Alabama.
We'll have to make a song about that.
Well, I'll have to do something.
Yeah.
And it's good spot for chat, conversation. We don't allow bullies on there. If you're a troll, stay away because you won't be there long. It's okay to come on and ask questions, have disagreements, but we're going to do it in an agreeable manner. And we're going to learn from it. And some of it's just fun. Some of it has nothing to do with tiny homes. It might be about what kind of food you like. It could be any question at all. Check it out. And do you have a face page or a place that you want to say one more time?
I mean, I'm in that group all the time too, as often as I can be, to kind of reply to people and you know, comment on things as well. But yeah, of course, you know, you got our YouTube channel, which is GoTinyBeFree. You've got our Facebook page, which is GoTinyBeFree, or the Cottages at Pine Lake. So pretty easy to find us on Facebook and on YouTube. That's kind of where we're most active. And of course, the website, GoTinyCottages.com. That's the easiest way to get there, GoTinyCottages.com. If you have any questions, you know, be sure to check out the website. There's a frequently asked questions page on there as well. But you can always email me as well, support@GoTinyBeFree.com. But I'm about here about every day.
And if you're watching YouTube or the other sources, should they subscribe?
You know, you might want to if you want to see what's going on here. You want to get the updates and you know, see what other crazy shenanigans we're going to get into. If you want to find out when Jim's going to get that fountain shower, you might need to subscribe.
Could be right away.
Here we go. Let's turn it up.
But, hey, y'all, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Hans, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you.
Yeah, it's been fun.
More than what I ever imagined.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for being a part of this and for helping kind of share this, you know, because people get tired of hearing me all the time. So it's nice to have a fresh face. And
well, they get tired of me too.
No, it's been great. We had, you know, Jim had the cookout this last week. So we'll have a lot of future events coming here on the property. Lots of fun times ahead. So, you know, come join us. Come check us out. GoTinyCottages.com. And in the meantime, we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Thanks again, Jim.